In an urban society, everything connects. Each person's needs are fed by the skills of many others. Our lives are woven together in a fabric. But the connections that make society strong also make it vulnerable.
Peaceful up here, isn't it? Oh, I'd love to live out in the country, wouldn't you, Jimmy?
What the heck?
Why not?
It's dead. Nothing to do. Just imagine living down there. Take you an hour to get to the nearest boozer.
Oh, I know. But the air's lovely. You know, I love it this time of year. The spring coming on. You know, see the leaves just coming out on that bush over there? What are you looking at?
Trying to make out where our house is. Wish I had a pair of binoculars. See floodlights at United Ground, look.
Saturday, March 20, with the news, John
Oh, what time is it?
There's been further fighting in Iran
No,
between
half-time scores will
government
go in a minute.
says the civil war there.
Oh, honestly. Come out here for a drive. We're surrounded by all this countryside and all you can think about is football.
That's not all I can think about.
Oh, stop it. Honestly, you've got no consideration at all sometimes. You think you can do what you like. Where are you going?
Manchester United 0. West Ham United 2. Queen's Park Rangers 0. Season 2, Barnsley 1, Derby 0.
There you are. Peace offering. Not much smell to it, though.
It's lovely.
Yeah, they're supposed to bring good luck, innit?
Middlesbrough 2, Oldham
That's what they say.
Newcastle 0.
Wonder if it'll bring me any.
Portsmouth 0. Brighton and Hove Albion 1. Division 3, AFC Bournemouth 2, Wimbledon 2, Brentford 0, Bristol Rovers 2, Burnley 1, Bolton Wanderers 1, Gillingham 1, Orient 0.
This film, shot secretly by a West German television crew on Tuesday, shows one of the Soviet convoys on the move in northern Iran. The convoys were first spotted by United States satellites on Monday, moving across 3 of the mountain passes leading from the Soviet Union. The Soviet foreign minister has defended the incursions and has accused the United States of deliberately prompting last week's coup in Iran. Speaking on his arrival in Vienna, Mr. Gromyko claims the Soviet vehicles were responding to appeals from a legitimate government.
Are you being serious?
Of course I'm being serious. I'm not being more
He went on
serious
to
than
describe
alive.
American covert activities in Iran in the period immediately preceding the coup as
Jimmy?
destabilizing.
Are
He
you
warned the
sure?
United States of the dangers of seeking
Definitely.
what he called an easy return
I'm normally
to
as
the days
regular
of
as
Shah.
clockwork. Anyway, what if I am? It's not the end of the world, is it?
And now a look at programmes later this evening on BBC One.
And don't forget number 24 today.
What?
I said don't forget number 24 today. You're going to run your ear in with them things on all the time, you know.
Honestly, Jimmy,
I think he wants something else seen to as well.
Don't blame me, it's not my fault.
Don't go blaming it all on Ruth, Jimmy. That's not fair.
It's irrelevant who's to blame now. Well, point is, what are you going to do about it?
We're going to get married. What for? Because we want to, what do you think?
You don't have to, you know, Jimmy. I won't want you thinking we were pushing you into it.
Nobody's pushing us into out. It's what we want, we've decided.
I suppose you've talked about an abortion.
Of course we have. But neither of us want that. When I get married and have a baby.
Mum, what's that mean? Abortion?
Michael!
Never mind what it means. You get on with your game. It's nothing to do with you.
We're thinking of getting engaged anyway. So it don't make much difference, really. Just brought it forward a bit, that's all.
You know what you're doing, Jimmy. It's a hell of a time to be starting a family in the middle of a recession.
What are you doing with that? I'm not hurting it. Ah, Jimmy's getting married. Hiya.
I might be, why?
Well, it's a bit sudden, isn't it? You're never even engaged.
How do you know? Anyway, it's not to do you, so keep your nose out.
Are you getting married in a church or in a registry office? Alison, what's an abortion?
Michael, I've told you once.
Oh, so that's it.
I'll give you a good hiding, lad, if you don't learn to keep your mouth shut.
What for? I ain't done anything yet.
Are you going to shut up about it?
I hope you two are both satisfied now.
What are you blaming me for? I haven't done anything wrong.
The time now 7:30, Douglas Barton with tonight's headlines. The United States has hinted it may send troops to the Middle East if the Russians don't move their forces out of Iran. The Prime Minister has joined the chorus of Western leaders calling for immediate withdrawal and has spoken of a serious threat to world peace. 4 people were killed today on the M6 motorway in Staffordshire when their car was in collision with a heavy tanker. The accident happened at the junction with...
Do you think we'll get on all right? No, I can't see why not. They're ever so nice.
Just wish we were meeting in different circumstances, that's all.
Making it sound like a funeral.
It's a bit embarrassing, isn't it? Ought to have been a happy occasion.
It is a happy occasion. Well, I'm happy anyway.
I must say, it's brought out a very determined streak in you, as this.
There's been a serious incident involving a United States warship in the waters off the coast of Iran. No further details are given in the story, attributed to the paper's defense correspondent. However, one rumor being heard increasingly in the capital this morning says the vessel is a U.S. submarine that has disappeared whilst on routine patrol in the area.
Didn't you hear what I said, Gordon? Mr. Mrs. Campbell here.
Many people by seeming to confirm that something very serious has happened. A Pentagon spokesman has refused to be drawn one way or the other on the crisis, parrying all reporters' questions at his regular morning.
Do come.
Mum, Mrs. Camp, Mr. Camp.
Mr. Lee,
How do you do?
How do you do?
Dad, Mr. and Mrs. Camp.
Oh, hello again. How do you do? Hello, Mrs. Campbell.
Well, do go through.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
BBC News at 8 o'clock. The Soviet Union has protested strongly to the United States about what it calls dangerous provocations by American warships in the Gulf of Oman yesterday. This follows an incident in which serious damage was caused to the Soviet cruiser Kirov when she was in collision with the U.S. destroyer Callahan.
It's in a bit of a state, but it's got possibilities.
I'll have that door stripped down, all this paper off and the walls white.
There's about 16 layers on here.
Ah, my mother and dad will help us, I'm sure they will.
My dad will give us hand as well. Be glad of something to do.
What are you laughing at?
Just thinking of his space when my mother said we could borrow his redundancy money.
Oh, don't.
We were fancying a trip to Bermuda on it. Looks like we're in Blackpool again.
Oh, dear. I like the gardens. I think it's lovely for children to have somewhere to play.
Well, if they'll let me build an aviary down there.
Oh, you and your birds.
Makes you feel funny, though, doesn't it?
What do you mean?
Thought of owning home, being married, having children. You have to put years on you, don't it?
Don't be silly. It'll be lovely. I just know it will. Yeah.
American and Israeli search and rescue vessels in the area today came across debris and oil slicks that could only have come from the missing submarine. It's still being said in Washington that the Los Angeles was on a routine reconnaissance mission off the coast of Iran when she sank last Tuesday with the loss of all hands. After paying tribute to her 127 officers and men, the president went on to say that he held the Soviet Union solely responsible for their deaths and for the vessel's disappearance.
The unprovoked attack on our submarine and the move into Iran are the actions of a reckless and warlike power. I have to warn the Soviets in the clearest possible terms that they risk taking us to the brink of an armed confrontation with incalculable consequences for all mankind.
Britain has emergency plans for war. If central government should ever fail, power can be transferred instead to a system of local officials dispersed across the country. In an urban district like Sheffield, there is already a designated wartime controller. He's the city's peacetime chief executive. If it should suddenly become necessary, he can be given full powers of internal government. When or if this happens depends on the crisis itself.
The United States government has been forced, reluctantly, to take action to safeguard what it believes are legitimate Western interests in the Middle East. This administration has therefore resolved to send units of its Rapid Deployment Force, the U.S. Central Command, into Western Iran. We are confident that the Soviet Union will take note of our resolve and will desist from its present perilous course of action.
Thank you very much, sir.
So if you want to tighten up the timer, here's a very simple but very good exercise. And the only piece of equipment you want is a chair with legs. Right. I'll just let you listen to the lovely silhouette piece when you get that chair on.
Mary, I want want you to contact the following people and have them in my office in 10 minutes' time. I don't care what they're doing, they're to drop in and get here right away. Is that clear? Right. You got a pencil? Okay. Alan Bolton, George Cox, Roger Fisher, Susan Russell, yes, administration, Tony Barnes, Roy Chamberlain.
It's busy for a Wednesday, isn't it? I think it was Christmas.
And what about the food situation? What have we got? And what about fire? What else is there? Corned beef? Hope it's not from Argentina. Okay, what about supplies to the first aid post? Is that all? Well, that's not going to get us very far, is it? What? Well, I'm sure I don't know, if I'm honest. We've heard nothing about emergency powers as yet. Anyway, don't make a song and dance about it. Just get on with it. Don't tell anybody you don't have to, eh? Okay.
Of the United States 10th Airborne Division, which parachuted into western Iran yesterday, have taken up defensive positions near Isfahan, designed, according to the spokesman, to block any possible move towards the oil fields in the Persian Gulf. Squadrons of American B-52 bombers have been arriving at U.S. bases in Turkey since late on Tuesday evening, together with 3 AWACS early warning aircraft. It's believed that they'll be used in a supporting role to the Middle East Task Force.
All right, John.
The 84th Airborne Division has also been placed on a state of combat readiness and is said to be able to...
Come to give me a hand, then?
No chance. Done enough for one day. I'm knackered.
Not too knackered to be going out, though, I see.
It's different, isn't it? Anyway, I need a break. I'll be down at house every night this week.
How's it coming on?
Not too bad. Just trying to get living room and bedroom finished before we're moving. Mother says will you take some flowers down when you're finished?
Third since tea time.
Aye. Where are they going to?
Fittingly, I suppose.
Why don't you pop down to W.H. Smith's and buy yourself an aircraft spotter's book? You start a new orbit, make a change from gardening.
You can laugh, but there's something going on, I'm telling you.
There's something going on tonight when I've had a few pints.
Don't be going mad. You haven't only got yourself to think about now, you know.
Why not? Might as well enjoy myself while I'm single. Not long to go now, you know.
You could be right there.
What's up with you? Getting into Geneva when you're married? Two liters, please, then.
Worldwide anxiety about the superpower confrontation in the Middle East has increased still further this evening. In a statement issued a short time ago by the Pentagon in Washington, the United States has accused the Soviet Union of moving nuclear warheads into their new base at Mashhad in northern Iran. According to the American spokesman, the warhead...
Hey, I'm watching that.
aboard 2 giant Antonov transport planes late yesterday afternoon and were immediately moved undercover into temporary hangars.
See that? Watching that thing about Far East and it goes and turns its own.
Far East? Wow, what's going on there?
Iran. Americans have just said Russian.
Iran? That's not the Far East, you pellet. That's the Middle East. China, Hong Kong, that's the Far East.
So what?
Hong Kong, that's a far east.
So what? It's far enough, isn't it?
To near east myself, Scarborough and Skegness.
Skeggy? I'd rather watch my toenails grow than go there.
Anyway, never mind that rubbish. What about these two birds to east of this table?
NATO's position on the United States action in sending its task force...
That's right, you know, it's getting serious.
Well, there's not we can do about it, is there? Might as well enjoy ourselves whilst we can.
I know, but don't it scare you what it might lead to?
Well, it bloody scares me. There's no we can do about it, is there? Tell you one thing, if the bomb does drop, I'm going to be pissed out of my mind and straight underneath it when it happens.
From which neither side can back down. Arriving here in Brussels a short time ago, NATO's Secretary-General said he regretted the Soviet action.
Miserable bugger, it's all his family responsibilities. You're acting like a married man already.
Not be long now, you know.
Well, you might as well make best of it once you can, haven't you? Chucking these two birds up there.
Strengthens the divisions within NATO is something we shall know in a few hours' time, when the full Council of Ministers meets in emergency
Last chance you'll get. Anyway, if we are going to cop it, might as well go out with a bang, that's what I say.
Can't be many better ways of going, I don't suppose. Blown up on the job.
And we've just heard that the Prime Minister has issued a message of support for the United States government. The statement, just released from Downing Street, condemns what it calls reckless Soviet actions, which can only worsen an already grave situation.
To the Director of Technical Services. Please let me know what fuel stocks are currently held in each depot. Please ensure that tanks are kept topped up and that no fuel is used except for essential works only.
There's been no response from the Soviet government as yet to the United States ultimatum delivered to Moscow last night. The American note calls for joint withdrawal of all U.S. and Soviet forces from Iran by noon on Sunday. However, NATO observers in West Germany have reported increasing build-ups of Warsaw-packed troops and vehicles at points along the central frontier this morning. The Ministry of Defense has announced it's sending more troops to Europe to reinforce the British commitment to NATO. The first contingents left RAF Bryce Norton this morning. The day has been marked by a number of demonstrations up and down the country, reflecting support for and against the government's decision to reinforce Europe. Although most of these passed off without incident, police made a number of arrests for disorderly conduct at rallies in the North and Midlands.
The government has taken control of British Airways and all cross-channel ferries. They say it's a temporary step to help move troops to Europe. Thousands are stranded at Heathrow and Gatwick. And the Royal Navy is to guard the North Sea oil rigs. The MOD says it's a prudent precautionary measure.
This time, they are playing with, at best, the destruction of life as we know it, and at worst, total annihilation. You cannot win a nuclear war! Now, just suppose the Russians win this war. What exactly would they be winning? What would they have conquered? Well, I'll tell you. All major centres of population and industry will have been destroyed.
Industry? What industry? We ain't got no industry in Sheffield!
Yes, and if the money hadn't been spent on nuclear weapons, you would have built up industry.
Get back to bloody Russia!
who would have brought money into welfare, who would have found alternative sources of energy. Industry. Industry would have been destroyed. Oil refineries would have been destroyed. All our water would have been polluted. The soil would have been irradiated. Farm stock would be dead, diseased or dying. The Russians would have conquered a corpse of a country.
Let us pray.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Since the expiry of the American ultimatum to the Soviet Union at noon yesterday, there have been intense diplomatic efforts to mediate between the two countries. There is still no information from Iran itself. No news teams have been allowed in or out of the country since phone and telex links were cut on Friday evening. Questioned in the House this morning, the Foreign Secretary said he had no definite news to report and that it would be unhelpful to speculate in the absence of any hard information from the area. Run on tinned food, sugar and other storable items, which is causing shortages in some areas. Spokesman for the main supermarket chain said that panic buying is unnecessary. Fuel shortages are hindering resupply in some areas, but overall there is no shortage of stocks. They urged the public to calm down, be patient.
40p? That's scandalous. They were only 26p last week.
You can always shop somewhere else, you know, if you're not satisfied.
Honestly, there's a national emergency going on and all you can think about is lining your pockets.
Look, nobody's forcing you to buy them. Put them back on shelves if you don't want them.
Yes, I will. I'd sooner starve first. Excuse me, love.
They started fighting, Mum. Who has? The Americans and the Russians. It's just been on the news. My dad says you've got to come home now.
Hey, you haven't paid for them things.
In response to today's news of the outbreak of hostilities between vessels of the United States and Soviet navies, a special session of Parliament has this evening passed an Emergency Powers Act. There'll be a special announcement at the end of this bulletin, and details will be given then of how this affects you. The Prime Minister is expected to address the nation on the international crisis later this evening. A statement issued earlier from Downing Street said the government is optimistic that a peaceful, negotiated settlement to the conflict is at hand. In the meantime, the public is urged to remain calm and to continue normally.
You all right, love?
It's noisy.
Must be pubs turning out.